Alright, so I was looking through the 6-star list and I was like, who would be the best like champion to add to the 7-star pool? And I came up with 5 of these characters and I was like, I feel like these guys just are the absolute best champions to add here for specific reasons. But I want to talk about like the top contenderships to be added as a 7-star. Like what makes them such good additions? And I feel like there's 4 traits to have that are really useful to like being a 7-star champion. The first thing is taking advantage of the common power rate increase. So basically, if you don't know this, the 6-star rank 5 common power rate and the 6-star rank 1 common power rate are drastically different. Like there is a massive difference in common power rate, and the 7-star rank 1s have the same as the 6-star rank 5. So you have like the maximum common power rate to start off with as a 7-star champion. That is just incredible. So if you have a champion that can like take advantage of that, that is perfect. Next, let's talk about just their overall value, right? Because I feel like the 7-star pool it's pretty good, but also feels somewhat incomplete. I feel like there's some like certain like roles that are missing in certain classes, right? Like for example, I feel like the skill class is missing like a number 1 dual threat champion. I feel like my number 1 pick for the 7-star list is going to be just that person fill up that slot, right? So there's that as well. Second to lastly, the stat focus, right? If you can take advantage of stat focus, that's a massive benefit. And then lastly, these champions, in my opinion, are all rank 5 worthy without a doubt, right? In my opinion, the number 1 champion on this list is probably a top 3 in their class to rank 5. But there's just like either new champion bias or just like the top dogs are like taking priority over these guys to rank 5 as a 6-star, right? You know, like your usual Nick Furies, your Apocalypses, Hercules, champs like that, right? But these champions as 7-stars will just counter that for sure, because these champions, they don't need to be awakened, they don't need to be like max sig, they can be fine unawakened and they can go straight to rank 2. So I feel like that's important to like note in this list as well, that all these champions don't need to be awakened and they would be great rank 2 candidates even unawakened. Now, starting off this list, we have Cersei, which is the number 5 spot. So I feel like Cersei is a great champion both on attack and defense, and I feel like the Cosmic class is probably the most complete class when it comes to the 7-star pool. So I feel like just adding another dual threat would be like a massive benefit there. And I feel like the 7-star benefits really help her a ton. So like the common power rate increase is great for her because she is like an SP2 champion, so you want to like build to SP2 as fast as possible, and then just drop it and then like, you know, the fight's done. Having that like increased common power rate will be like a massive help to her. Additionally, I feel like she doesn't need to be awakened at all, and like if she is awakened, it's a nice benefit for sure, but she doesn't really need it at all, and it's just like even unawakened, she's still rank 2 worthy 100%. And lastly, she's a champion where like she's very, very solid, right? But you wouldn't really like put her in the top 5 for like most worthy rank 5 cosmic characters, because you know there's just like Hercules, there's the usual suspects, right? But having a 7-star, you don't have to worry about that anymore, because she'll just be a phenomenal champion to take up the 7-star rank 2 even unawakened. So yeah, I feel like Cersei is a great addition to the 7-star pool, and I would love to see her in the next 7-star batch. And next up we have number 4, which is Immortal Abomination. I feel like this guy has maybe lost a little bit of value over time, but I feel like he still is a massive dual threat in Battlegrounds, and I feel like that's what the Science class needs. There is the Overseer, but to be honest, Unawakened Overseer kind of like isn't all that to me, so I feel like having a champion that doesn't need to be awakened at all with I-Bomb is just a perfect way to just complete the Science class. He's a very strong attacker. I feel like he still has a lot of value on the attack spectrum, and defender-wise, he is still super duper annoying, right? And having a 7-star I-Bomb with like a ton of health and like a ton of like defender stat focuses, that would just make him like super annoying on defense, and like I feel like that's what the Science class needs. They have a lot of great attackers like Titania and Hulk, but like having a solid dual threat is like what they need. So I feel like he is the probably perfect 7-star to add in the Science class. And yeah, he has a benefit from the common power rate because of his like SP2. You really want to get to SP2 ASAP so you can just like start dropping the poisons really fast. So that's a nice benefit there. Additionally, he doesn't really need to be awakened. He's a very solid champion unawakened, but like having him awakened does help for sure. So yeah, he's a very good champion. I think he's still ranked 2 worthy even unawakened. So yeah, honestly, adding I-Bomb to the next batch of 7-star characters would just like complete the Science class in my opinion. Now at number 3, we have PENI Parker. This one might be a little bit like, why would you wish this upon us? But trust me, I feel like she'd be a fantastic 7-star champion. I feel like what the tech class needs is a powerhouse dual threat, and this is what PENI Parker is. She would be the strongest tech defender and probably like the strongest tech attacker too. So I feel like she would just make the tech class what it needs to be, because right now, in my opinion, the tech class in the 7-star pool is probably the worst class. Like, there's a lot of decent characters there for sure, like, you know, Rocket Raccoon, War Machine, Shuri, but PENI Parker would just, like, she would just make the class perfect, man, because she'd be like the best pool in my opinion by a mile, because like she just has so much like utility, she has so much usefulness as well, and she would just be such a great addition to the class because they need a dual threat, they need a like powerhouse both attacker and defender, and that's what Penny Parker is. So I feel like she'd get a massive benefit from like there because she'd have a use instantly and she'd be like wanted instantly. Additionally, she has a massive benefit for the comp power rate because you know she's a SP1 SP2 character, so like you have to get a lot of power bars, and so like having that increased comp power rate would just be a massive help to her. Additionally, her awakened ability is very nice, but she doesn't need it at all. She'll still be a great champion that is definitely rank 2 worthy, even unawakened. And yeah, I feel like she's a champion where like she is definitely rank 5 worthy, but you wouldn't really take her up over, you know, the top dogs, like I said, you know, Nimrod, Ghost, champs like that, Warlock. But she still is a very solid character, and I feel like having her as a 7-star would instantly make her like, you know, in that top contention once more. Now, these last two are just absolute gods. Like I would say they're still top 5 in their classes, right? But I feel like having them as 7-stars would just instantly make that like a no contest, that they are just at the pinnacle of their classes. And I feel like both of these champions, they need to be added for their respective classes because I feel like their classes are just missing that one it champion, and these champions have it. So number 2, we have Diablo. This guy is still a monster. He is so good, and the thing that like made me want to put him in this list is because there is like kind of a debate of like, has he fallen off a little bit? And I feel like having him as a 7-star would just shut that down ASAP because he would just be a powerhouse 7-star. The Mystic class needs that it attacker. There is Wiccan, of course, who is phenomenal, don't get me wrong, but he really does want like to be at least awakened, if not like high sig. It really does help his damage output in like, you know, non-buff matchups. But Diablo, any matchup, he is just a monster, and with Recall Masteries, oh my gosh, he is insane. So like having him as a 7-star would just be so good, man. The comp power rate would be a massive help to him as well. Like I said, he's one of those characters where like he is easily rank 5 worthy, right? But you know, the Doctor Dooms, the Tigras, the Absorbing Mans, that doesn't sound right at all, but yeah, like those guys are just, you know, keeping people from rank 5ing him, right? But yeah, like as a 7-star, easily rank 2 worthy, and also he doesn't need to be awakened in the slightest. It does help for sure, it's some nice benefits, but like if you pull him twice, I wouldn't complain at all. Like that's still a very good pool. Like having him awakened is just phenomenal, but even if he's unawakened, still rank 2 worthy in my opinion. So yeah, just a very solid pool. And now let's talk about the number 1 character. I still think this guy is a top 5 skill character. I think he is in the top 5 like skill champions for like being most worthy rank 5. I think this guy is still an absolute monster, and if he was a 7-star, it would just prove it in a second, man. So my number 1 pick, without a shadow of a doubt, is Mole Man. 100%. This guy as a 7-star would just be unreal. His damage output is already crazy good as a 6-star. As a 7-star, it would just be absurd because you can put the stat focus for crit damage, or you can like put it for, you know, prowess as well. Additionally, like you get a nice benefit from the comp power rate because like the SP2s, they go pretty crazy. And additionally, with the power back boost, it's just like so much fun, man. Also does not need to be awakened at all, but if you do awaken him, it is a very good signature ability, and it does help for like questing and things like that. So yeah, that's also pretty good. And this guy, in my opinion, is still one of the best skill champions in rank 5 and one of the best skill champs in general. But you know, like new champion bias and just like, you know, the Kingpins and Nick Furies of like the world are just preventing people from taking this guy up to rank 5, right? But I feel like he's still absolutely worth it, and if you pull him as a 7-star, if you're ranked 2 him, he would easily outclass like every other skill champion as a 6-star. No contest, right? So yeah, I feel like he'd be the best skill champion added to a 7-star. Honestly, I feel like he'd be the best 7-star flat out. Like, I think he's better than all of them, like by probably a mile, to be honest. And I feel like that's what the skill class needs. I feel like the skill class is probably the worst class right now in the 7-star pool. So adding like someone as powerful as Mole Man would just be what it needs to be like actual contending class for the 7-star pool. And also he's a powerful dual threat, right? And I feel like there isn't a dual threat in the skill pool just yet, so he would just be the perfect addition in my opinion. And yeah, that'll be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts on my list. Let me know your thoughts on like these type of videos, or like, you know, the list videos, if you like them or not. And yeah, that's about it for me.